We are in Washington State, right? I didn't want to start by pulling a Biden. Sorry. Now I just have one challenge left. Can I get through this more smoothly than our unspeaker of the House, Pelosi? We'll see. Anyway, my 32-year career as a high school biology instructor came to an unexpected early end when I received the Parkinson's diagnosis in the fall of 2008. Over the next 2 years, it became apparent that I wasn't going to be able to continue teaching. I took early retirement and was approved for Social Security disability. And here's where the first loss of freedom reared its ugly head. I had the wonderful security of faith and family during those initial years, trying to adjust to my new reality. Unfortunately, once I was on disability, I learned that our government puts you on Medicare whether you want it or not. And I had and still have my own private insurance policy, though it now is secondary and Medicare rules the roost. As a result of being forced on Medicare, a medication I was on for cholesterol issues was no longer covered. Medicare said it's too expensive and refused to pay. The replacement statin that I got put on had numerous devastating side effects, one being type 2 diabetes. Controlling the diabetes then became a huge challenge for me, and I was told on this, similar to what Kevin told you, that the normal path is work on diet, oral medication, and my physician said eventually you'll be on insulin shots. Not a pleasant thought. Is this freedom? I think not. Then in September of 2017, my wife saw an ad for a seminar on reversing type 2 diabetes. She attended because I wasn't really well enough to go. She came back that evening telling me what had happened, and I asked her, did you make an appointment? She said, I can't do it without you. I said, well, we better try. She was the first one on the phone in the morning. And since Medicare wasn't able to fund this new path that I was going to try, I had to pay for it all out of pocket. And I thank God today that I did, because that decision was the start of an incredible journey on an alternative path known as functional medicine. And here are the absolutely mind-blowing results. 3 months on that protocol, I had my blood work done, and to my astonishment, my A1C, for those of you who are diabetics, you know that's the gold standard now, had dropped from 7.1 to 5.8. And all the other tests, cholesterol, lipids, etc., were normal for the first time in over 35 years. And I had been struggling with those. The doctor would prescribe this, one number would get better, another number would get worse. It was just up and down. So I'd been following the mainstream medicine options with my regular doctors, but I'd been a little scared to tell them what I was doing because you sometimes get some pretty negative responses from them. However, after looking at the results, the responses were identical. What have you done? So I briefly told them, and they all then said, keep doing what you're doing. It's totally off the mainstream. After a few months, my PD symptoms saw some very positive improvement in two primary ways. First, since mercury is implicated in a number of issues with the brain, including PD, I had all the amalgams removed and replaced. It's important that you get a dentist who is properly trained in the safe removal of mercury-type fillings, and mine was. I took a heavy metals test both before the amalgam removal and after, and the mercury levels, which were moderately high before, afterwards dropped completely to zero.
Wow.
If any of you have read Alice in Wonderland, you know what happened to the Mad Hatter. They would cure the beaver skins with mercury, and that's why he was mad. I try not to be mad. In addition to this, we also began addressing brain health with specific natural supplements. The result, 1 month after the last amalgams were replaced, and about 3 months into addressing brain health, the brain fog, which had robbed me of my ability to drive, totally lifted. And I've been back on the road again for the past 17 months. Oftentimes I've said it feels like I'm a 16-year-old with my license for the first time. And in addition to that, a number of the non-motor symptoms, this is the motor symptom right here, associated with PD have virtually disappeared. For example, insomnia, anxiety, paranoia, extreme fatigue, and a number of the things that robbed me of my ability to teach. Is this freedom? Yes, freedom to choose without governmental interference. Now, my wife, who is also here somewhere over there, is no longer burdened by my schedule. She got her freedom back too. So her schedule is hers and mine is mine, and sometimes the twain do meet. So when we start allowing government at any level to start making decisions for us, taking away our freedoms, we have no idea how far it can go. For me, in a very personal way, I now understand it perfectly. If I didn't have the freedom to step away from the, quote, recommended treatment Medicare wanted me on, I probably wouldn't be standing here today. In fact, I may not be standing at all. I might be wheelchair bound. I have a lot of concerns that with the leftist agenda of giving everything away, we are being set up for governmental control of every aspect of our lives. For me, I learned a valuable lesson about freedom. My life depended on the freedom to choose. All of us, I feel strongly, need to embrace the values of faith, family, and freedom, as Chief Culp also does. I have one small piece of advice or encouragement. We all need to get out and vote like our lives depend on it. Yeah. Thank you.